Yep. My turn?
Okay, I just want to be really excited right now. Instead, I'm ready for a nap, to be honest.
I didn't sleep last night because I was so excited about the rollout of Lo-Fi today.
Yeah.
Oh my God, me and Tim were up super late. It was ridiculous. Going over everything. And then right before, I don't know if you noticed, I don't know if you were on that early, but right before the call began, I was like, well, wait 5 minutes. Right when the 5 minutes hit, my computer died. It was like,
oh, shoot.
What do I do? What do I do? So I quickly jumped over, plugged it in, and for some odd reason, the MacBook, they're amazing. It just fired right back up. Didn't lose a thing. So
I actually almost sent you a message. I'm like, yo, nerd, who do you have to call for support if you screwed something up?
Yeah.
I was a part of all that and what went on.
Jesus. So let's kick this thing off. It is another beautiful day in the world of mortgage lending, but we're not going to talk about mortgages too much in this one. We're going to talk about something that I guess you can call a social concern, conundrum. What else would you call it? Yeah.
I don't know. I think it could jump into the mortgage world just a little bit, just because we are in a professional setting, and professional settings used to have this certain level, and now there's a change in it. So I think it's going to tie back to the mortgage world just a little bit. So welcome to our seven. So
number
awesome.
7. Yeah, I agree.
Okay, so I'm Deborah Criddle, got my buddy here, Mark Jones, and we're going to talk about something totally different today, for sure.
Today, our topic, and Deborah brought this up to me. I thought it was freaking awesome. We're going to talk about tattoos in the workplace, y'all.
Yeah! None. I don't even have one on my hind end where you're not allowed to see.
I do. Funny story is it says your name, and everybody will go, how did you know my name? I don't, but it still says your name.
The words your name?
Your name. It's winky face like this.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, I was super young, dumb at the time when getting it, but it did win me a lot of free drinks and a lot of bets.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Now, mind you, I will start with the following. I am tattooed from head to toe, literally. The smallest one I have is on my ankle. The largest one I have is my entire right arm. That tells a story, but I will say that I did not have any visible tattoos my first probably 5 years into the industry. I mean, did I have them? Yes, but I was conscientious of what people would perceive me to be at first sight. It was what is that word I'm looking for? It's like a stigma that it carried with it.
Yeah. And if you have a tattoo, you're automatically a thug, and you just dealt drugs to the kids on the corner before you came to work.
That's right. Or you just got off of your motorcycle and you probably just got done beating somebody's butt.
Yeah. Or the special ones that you came out of jail with.
There you go. Whatever. Yeah. Most of those are teardrops, I think. I don't know.
Oh, yikes. Yeah. Oh, I've met a few people with teardrops. That doesn't
have you really
make you nervous. Yeah.
That if it's colored in, that means that they killed someone.
Oh, I thought it was just if there was a teardrop.
Oh no, that had like an actual meaning if it was a jailhouse tattoo. Anyway,
okay.
But I think this is a great topic because it came about for me. Like I said, I've been in this 13 years, so subtract 5, maybe 8, 7 years ago was when I made the conscious decision to extend my artwork past the point to where it is then visible to consumers, colleagues, anybody. And was I scared? At that time, no. Was I prior to that? Absolutely. I was still a rising industry expert at the time, building my business, and I did not want to lose any business for things that I did have control over. And once I got back, so I took a service trip to Africa. We did a ton of service work. We helped rebuild a school. We helped feed a couple of refugees camps, things of that nature. It was awesome. It truly showed me a different perspective of life in general. And when I got back, I talked to Kristen and said, hey, I think I'm ready to extend this, simply because there was so much that I wanted to put into this artwork, into this piece, that I couldn't think of anywhere else to put it. I mean, I'm not going to fill my back with tattoos or my leg. I don't really think that looks cool, so to speak. But I did want something that represented myself when people saw me. And at that point in time, it was like, if you see this and you're turned off by it, then you're not the kind of person that I want to do business with anyway. And that's kind of the motto that I took going forward. But I did have to reach a place in my business that it felt comfortable and confident to be able to have that outlook on it.
Yeah. But I just think, like, in my world, I belong to a religion that tattoos are no, you just don't do it. I'm horrified of needles. So it kind of just worked out good because, and I honestly, knowing your personality, I'm surprised you can lay on that bed as many hours as it takes to do things and just sit there.
Well, I will be honest with you and everyone else on this piece here. It was 7 hours and 7 hours. My uncle had owned a tattoo parlor before, so I knew about this numbing solution that they could put on you. So I immediately asked for it, and the guy had it and put it on. So it wasn't too crazy. But at the same time, before I knew about that, a numbing cream or spray, it was more of a gratifying pain, if that makes sense. Like, if I move, this art is going to not turn out the way that we intended it to be. Sure. If I move, I don't know. It was one of the, in my opinion, I don't have any on my body that don't mean something. Now, there's plenty of folks out there that have silly stuff. And hey, I don't judge anybody for it because I have them, and to each their own. I judge them. You know, tell me. What,
Just kidding. I don't. Well, this is, I guess, where I would go with this is, I have a lot of people around my circle that have tattoos for whatever reason, and all I can say is, it's not for me. It's not something you'll ever see me do. It's not even something that I even have the desire to, even if I went to some country that just really penetrated my soul. But all I think is, if people just pause for just a minute and ask about tattoos, usually there's a pretty crazy story behind that.
And you are exactly right in most cases. I'm not going to say all, but you are correct.
And I go back to, I have one brother, and I can't remember how old he was. He was over 18 because he had to be over 18 to get this. But my brother's kind of a brother that we just adopted. I've known him my whole life. He actually committed suicide his senior year of high school.
Oh.
And their dream was always to go to Jackson Hole, Wyoming and get matching tattoos. And so when his friend committed suicide a couple years later, after he turned 18, he has a huge cobra on his chest. And it's interesting because I expected my mom to be mad because he desecrated his body or whatever verbiage he wanted to do. But I never heard anything ill out of her mouth because there was such a significance to that. Like, he did that not because he wanted this snake on his chest. He did that because that was his best friend from pre-kindergarten.
Yeah, he was paying homage to his friend, to remember and to always have that with him. And no, you can't have a piece of the ashes, or you can't have some locket or something that you could lose. It's pretty permanent. Now, these days you can get them removed, but I don't know if you've seen any tattoo removals. You could still kind of see it.
Yeah, it kind of leaves a scar. Yeah. Well, and I think there's a time and place for it. You know, what really triggered this is I actually had a gal on my Facebook feed that just popped up, and she had commented, she's in nursing school,
Mhm.
And she had commented on there about, hey, has anybody had any luck finding the proper cover sleeves?
Oh yeah.
Because they're not allowed to have visible
Visible.
tattoos.
Yep.
And so in certain situations, like some of the things that you can buy, they're too bulky or they're too hot or whatever. So she was trying to get some advice on people who were in that situation. And oh boy, I went down the rabbit hole of reading some comments on that. And I wanted to smack some people. I'm not pro tattoo. I
Right.
mean, everybody has to each their own, whatever you want to do to yourselves. But I just thought it was just not cool. Like
Yeah.
you shouldn't be going into nursing if you have tattoos. What the heck? Seriously? So tattoos now stops you from being a good person? Like I don't know.
Doesn't compute. No, you're exactly correct. But I think that it took a wave of a next generation, which took place for it to shake the stigma of it.
Yeah.
I loved the beginning of when I did do the large sleeve piece, because I would meet, and this was prior to COVID, so I was still meeting with customers face to face, and I would work with, we'll call them older customers, not old, but just older than me customers.
Different
And every
generation.
time, different generation, and every time I would start the conversation like this. And as we are discussing, getting to know each other more and more, now, mind you, each of those, like I do today, take 30 minutes to an hour of personality, asking questions, building a relationship. I'd slowly move up and slowly move up. And I'm not joking. This was deliberate, and it was every time because I didn't want, after the fact, them to catch it and go, well, wait a minute, like, what the heck? So as I did
helping me
that,
get a mortgage.
yeah, as I did that, they would then, and I'm telling you, it was just about every single time, they would say, hey, what is that? What's the meaning behind it? And I could not wait, because I don't know, there's no way you can see it, but this here says, may you be proud of the work that you do, the person you are, and the difference that you make. And that's a note that I am leaving to myself as a constant reminder to always do the right thing. Work your tail off. You're not there. Keep going. But I will tell you the story about my first one. Like you were saying, your mom didn't get upset at your brother. Well, my mom whooped my butt the first time. I was 17 years old, so I was younger than I needed to be. My uncle owned the tattoo place. So it was like, hey, we're doing this on the down low. You sure your parents are okay with it? Because your dad will kick your tail if he's not. So I lied and said, yeah, absolutely. Now, on my arm here, it is a cross with a scripture that I actually drew and had him do. And it's Isaiah 41:10. Fear not, for I am with you. And at that time, I'm thinking, okay, it's religious. It's something that I absolutely believe in. And also yet another reminder. And when I got home, my mom smacked my arm, and I was like, she didn't know. So I told her, and when I unveiled it, immediately she smacked me again and then said, okay, now let me read it. What is that? What is this? What is this crap? And then she read it. And then she started crying, and she was like, that's, if you're going to do it, hey, I guess that's a good one to have. So yeah, now I am curious to see statistics and things of that nature. You've got an article here. Does it have any of that stuff on it?
I don't know that it necessarily has statistics.
Let's just skim this thing real quick.
It was Indeed. And what I know about Indeed is that's kind of like one of the places for jobs and resume creations and all that stuff. So I thought it was a good source of what are they saying out there.
Right.
And
let's see here. Are tattoos in the workplace acceptable? Whether tattoos are okay in the workplace will depend on the employer's industry, company culture, and particular preference. For instance, a fine dining establishment may not permit its servers to have permanently placed tattoos because the server can has close interaction with the customers. Let's see. However, public contexts is only one aspect of the company deciding whether it is employees can have visible tattoos. Some owners or managers may have more conservative preferences and won't allow the employees to show the tattoos in the workplace. In more relaxed company atmospheres, employers may accept the tattoos for the workers and sign individuals. So this reminds me kind of I guess the concept of that stigma. Once that stigma was broken, and I don't know exactly when, I don't think anybody knows exactly when. It kind of like a shift
Gradually.
in anything. It gradually moves in, and I'm sure there are places in the U.S. where it is still very heavily frowned upon, but eventually they will kind of adapt or adopt the new philosophies in understanding that the tattoo doesn't make the person makes the tattoo, if that makes sense.
Yeah. But we live in a very judgmental society. So I think you're always going to have people that automatically put you in a criteria. No different than, I'm not a drinker.
Right.
So because I don't drink, then I can't go hang out with drinkers. No, I'll just drive you home safely. I mean, I don't put everybody in this big box. That's a problem. And it doesn't matter what it is, whether drinking, tattoos, or any of those things. But I remember the first time, in my office, they're not written rules. They're not unwritten rules. There's just certain things that just didn't happen in my office.
Etiquette,
and one of the girls that used to work in my office, she's since passed away. She got a tattoo around her ankle, and she always wore capris, always. But then
so you could see it. Oh, no, I see.
She didn't. And then it was probably, I think it was at least a year to a year and a half. One day she walked in with capris on. I'm like, what is on your ankle? And it was really cool. She had done like this. I don't remember what it was. It was cool looking, but her and a really good close relative of hers had got matching tattoos. And I think she was scared to tell me. I really do. And I don't really give a flying rat's crap. But when I looked at it and said, oh, okay, that's kind of cool. Then she showed me another one. She's like, oh, look at this one. I'm like, oh, that's actually really cool.
And then it keeps going and going.
It's just a 2 as far as I know. But what I thought was interesting is, this is where my head went, is shame on you, Deborah. Shame on you that yes, there's a certain standard that needs to be held in certain places, but I'm not better than you because I have tattoos, and you're not better than me because you have tattoos. It's just how you're choosing to portray certain aspects of your life. And anyways, so I took that to heart. Like, shame on you, Deb. Just, that's not okay.
That's pretty cool. That's a growth moment right there.
It was one of those things. But now I'm not pro
You
tattoo.
won't do it. Yeah. You're not going to do it. And that's okay. Yeah.
And I still have this reservation because of the way I was raised and the culture I was raised in. When I see people that are that are tattooed, you, for instance, Mark, when I saw your arms, I was like, ooh, okay. But I had to pause for a minute.
Has he been in jail?
And
No,
where have you been?
No, I haven't.
Where's your Harley? Did you beat up your wife last night? What have you been doing? But
that's awesome.
It just makes me, I have to stop for just a minute and just step away from the way I was raised, pause for just a minute and just think, let's just give people a little bit of grace with whatever reasoning, and I keep going back to my brother in my mind of, he has that tattoo for so much bigger purpose than just a snake on his chest. And my niece-in-law, I guess she married my nephew. She's got a sleeve. I think both sides are sleeves. And I would never be able to repeat what she told me, but she's got every little thing, just like yours, has a story.
Correct.
And I think it took her 30 minutes to explain the whole thing to me. That was probably exaggerated, but it was quite some time to explain it all. And I just remember, and I'll never forget how I felt, just thinking, wow, that is just tributes to various events and people. And so I just,
here's another example real quick. This was for my daughter. Why? Because she's a hoot.
Oh, that's awesome. And she's how old? 7 or something?
She's now 10,
Oh,
but
she's 10.
at this growing up, we got it literally 2 weeks after she was born. It was me paying that whole, I want something for my daughter that no one could ever take away. And growing up, she would always say, "That's my owl. That's my owl." And it was just cool.
That's cool.
But another point that I was wanting to make was this day and age, with the culture, with the generations intermingling and all that jazz, it almost makes the person having them in a professional instance relatable to their customers even more so. I just looked up a stat over here on the side, and it says 32% of Americans have tattoos. I don't think that's accurate. I think it's actually more, but even still, 32% of the population, that's quite a bit of people that are inked, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for me, to my knowledge, I have never lost business from it. But then again, I can't go backwards prior to when I felt like I was an expert and had the right to have visible tattoos, because it's not about this, it's about this. Yeah. So honestly, I would still tell people to be careful when inking your body up visibly if you are in a professional industry, because you never know, you still could lose business, lose opportunities because of that. You don't know.
Yeah. Well, and it doesn't matter, not to go down too much of a rabbit hole, but you have, go clear back to slavery. Mm-hmm. How many generations back that was? You still have 2 or 3, 4 generations down that still have issues with slavery. There's this mindset from how we're raised, where we were born, the culture we lived around, our grandparents, our great grandparents, those people that influenced our thought processes, and you're always going to have that stigma. We'll never be okay with. I mean, it's no different than the dumb blonde jokes.
Yeah,
if
no,
you have
you're
blonde
exactly
hair,
right.
you must be stupid. That's.
I think that one's still kind of true, though, right?
It is.
I'm joking. I'm joking.
Blonde, am I? I'm dirty.
Not at all. Yeah.
Not quite. But this is what I thought in this article, where it comes down, it says disadvantages of allowing tattoos in the workplace. If you want to put that up,
literally had it on there. Yep.
And I just thought it was interesting where it says tattoos may promote an overly casual atmosphere. Getting tattooed is a leisure activity, so conversations around the topic may be too casual for certain companies. To ensure the workplace interactions remain focused on work, organizations may decline to allow tattoos at the workplace. Wow. Too casual. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know, but I think it kind of goes back to when I was trying to say relatability to the customer. If we look at it bird's eye view, the largest generation to buy homes in the coming future is the generation that believes that this is kind of acceptable as long as it's tasteful. And I think that's to each their own what taste is. Some people may see my religious tattoos and not believe in religion at all and think that that's wrong when they've got a tattoo of Satan. It's like, well, wait a minute.
Yeah. And then you have some of these religions that your body's got scriptures on it. And why would you do that to your temple? It's just like, why would you desecrate your temple and you're putting scriptures on it? I think that it's interesting when you, tattoos might be distracting was the next section down on that.
Yeah.
And I think it very well could be, but you take that in general of, holy Levi's weren't allowed in.
Oh, true. Yeah.
Like on a Friday night, a Friday dress down office setting, you weren't allowed to have holes in them. Well, now holes are so confused why you would. I mean, I have pants that have holes in them, but some of them, like, there's not even pants there.
What's funny, it's funny you bring that up. So growing up, I was a part of that crowd that would buy them every once in a while with the holes, because the Abercrombie and Fitch jumped on that, all that jazz. And my dad would say, why the hell would you buy perfectly brand new clothes that are ripped. Like, just go get some jeans. I'll do it for you.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now I move forward and I don't really have any ripped anything. It's like you grow out of these phases or fads or trends. And I think it is applicable in certain settings versus others. So
yeah. One of my most favorite pair of pants have holes in it because they were bought that way, but they're so comfy. Just in case you want to know, you will see me on Friday.
That's
But
awesome.
jumping back to this article, it says it's read your employee handbooks
Mm.
and communicate with the people that you're interviewing with. That's going to be critical. Is, hey, I have tattoos. This is going to be a problem. Make sure the handbook and talk to people about it. And then I
mean,
don't know.
for me, this is something that we may or may not disagree on, but this review your company core values. I'm big, and I know you are too, on aligning yourself with a company that at least have the same values that you do. And if one of the values, and we're speaking like true values, is we don't allow tattoos, period, I don't know if that's a big enough concern for it to actually be a value. Whereas if they added, we don't appreciate distasteful tattoos, different story. I'm for that. But again,
You have male genitalia on your hand where everybody's going to see maybe isn't appropriate for the workplace.
Could you imagine that one right here, and every day you're just like this?
No, flipping off
Oh
your
my God.
neighbor, that would
Yeah,
take
all
it
day
to a
long.
whole new level.
Talk to the hand. Talk to the hand.
Yeah. Well, I think that, really the advice in Indeed was be cautious. So I agree with you, is you never really know what paths you're going to go down and what job you're going to end up having. And I really think no matter what happens, you're always going to have some businesses that straight up say no.
Yeah.
Not like all of dining in general. There'll be just some dining restaurants that won't allow it. There's my niece she's been in the restaurant industry forever, and she's worked at restaurants that won't allow any type of visible tattoos. So, and it's knowing what I know from talking to her, when I go into restaurants, I'm like, oh, she must be completely tattooed because it's like 95 degrees outside and she's got these long sleeves
Under Armour.
that are put around her thumbs. Like,
Yeah.
let me see that tattoo. No, I'm not allowed. Okay. And hair's always down, like by their faces.
Because they've got them here and here. Yeah, no, you won't ever. Now, if you do ever see me with something on my neck tattooed, just know I made it in life and I really could care less what anybody thinks about me.
You're planning on getting hit.
It'll probably say, Mama, I made it.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I would love to see if we can get some comments in the comments section, some feedback on what people think. If they agree, should tattoos be allowed always? And when I say always, I mean despite what it is, tasteful, distasteful, what have you, or should they not be allowed, period? Or is there a happy medium per industry? Would love to see what you guys' thoughts are.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you will not ever see me get a tattoo, but it was cool. Cracker Jacks. Did you ever have tattoos in Cracker Jacks?
Absolutely.
Got myself in trouble with that. You will not have that.
No way.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So you guys couldn't write on your hands or anything like that either, huh?
It was very frowned down on at us. But it's interesting as as you go through life, you start realizing certain things just don't matter. And I'll tell you more and more every day, I meet more honest, good people tattooed and pierced every single day. I meet a lot of dishonest, terrible humans that are not tattooed at all. So I'm just like, tattoos, piercings, I don't really care. Just be a good human.
I think we evolve. I think we evolve, and you can only evolve when you get out of your comfort zone. And an example of this is Deb Criddle. You're doing a podcast every week with a dude that's tattooed, black, Mexican, white, cusses up a storm, but yet we get along very, very well. So I guess the message to everybody out there would be, You grow through what you go through. And the more that you experience, I think the more that your mindset and tolerance would be accepting, because now you're getting to discover that what you were told or taught is not necessarily the case anymore.
Yeah. It's not necessarily the gospel perfection. It's not, it's okay to waver. It doesn't make you bad, I guess. I don't know what the right word is there, but
you may not go to hell because of it. That
you could potentially not go to hell. Although I will tell you this,
in the Bible, I know them all.
There will be a party there if I'm there. If I get there, it will be a party. I kind of hope I've done okay in my life, and I'm not. But
oh, you are doing fantastic. I'm a fan always. But I'm also looking forward to the next episode that we're going to be doing. So if you guys like this content, you're really going to like the next one, to where we talk about, tell them what we're going to talk about next.
Do you know all I want to do is sing the Beyonce song?
Do it.
All the single ladies. Yeah. Yeah. If that does not want you to come next week and listen to this. So we, tattoos aside, yes, comment, tell us how you feel, start an argument on social posts. I think this is the greatest thing ever, because we started the argument, and I think it'd be awesome to just rile it up. Anyways, but we came across this article about more single women own homes than men. If that's not sexist.
That's it.
Yes.
Sexist.
So there's some ist word somewhere out there for that. So So according to the statistics, more single women own homes than men. So won't that be interesting?
It sure will. Especially seeing how there's actually more women than there are men in the national population. Ooh, looking forward to this conversation. Guys, we will see you next week.
All right. Have a good week.